Hello, it's Daniel from Wani here. I'm talking to Glenn Hughes, the legendary bass player of Deep Purple. Hi Glenn, how are you today?
I'm good, man. I'm all good.
You came to Australia back in May for the Cream tribute show, and now you're back doing a Deep Purple tribute show. What do you like so much about touring Australia, and what's been your impression of Australian audiences?
You know, it's very simple for me just to spin a yarn about each country I play in being the greatest country in the world, but I have a really strong definition of my love for Australia, coming when I came in the mid-'70s with Deep Purple, and it was a grand and glorious time for us all, you know, and the fans were so great, and everything was it was a great memory for me. And you know, I started to come back to Australia about 12 years ago. I started to do some stuff with Jimmy Barnes and start writing with him and for one of his albums. And I came back 4 years ago with my band Kings of Chaos with Matt Sorum and Joe Elliott and, you know, Steve Stevens and Slash. And then I came back again. Basically what I'm getting to is I started to come back to Australia and having these amazing times, you know. And with the Cream thing happened in May, I was overcome with joy that so many people came out. And then people asked me, when are you going to do something like this for your legacy with Deep Purple? And it so happens that my office were, you know, being inquired about, you know, can I do shows, you know, like a Glenn Hughes legacy Deep Purple tour, you know. And I've never done anything quite like that since I left the band in 1976. So with Deep Purple finishing their touring in November, and they'll no longer exist to tour, I just figured the time was right now to do it and to bring it to Australia first.
It's been 40 years since you've performed Deep Purple songs live in Australia. What impact do you think those songs have had on popular music, and what does it mean for you personally to perform these songs 40 years later?
Well, as you can imagine, in the last 10 years, the record business has changed dramatically. And when rock fans think of rock music, the young fans look to their parents for help. And their parents, you know, maybe a little younger than me, or maybe the same age as me, or even older than me, will give them the story of Led Zeppelin, Deep Purple, Black Sabbath, Pink Floyd, Genesis, Yes, The Who. I could continue and ad infinitum, you know, these great bands from my generation, you know, the 70s. And now the world finds that because nobody sells records anymore, people want to hear what they were missing all those years ago. And there's only a few bands or only a few artists left that can carry the message appropriately and to deliver the songs and feelings appropriately. And I am so grateful to be one of those guys. So it's, you know, it's a definite big yes for me.
As you have collaborated with many fantastic musicians, how did you choose your band lineup for a classic Deep Purple show?
I wanted to make sure on this tour, well, you know, anything like, to be quite honest with you, anything I do, I'm going to make sure it's as good as it can be, you know. But you know, I looked at the songs and I looked at the people I could work with. I've chosen an Australian keyboard player from Adelaide who now lives in Sydney. He plays with my friend Jimmy Barnes. His name is Lockie Doley. If you go Lockie Doley Group, or you Google Lockie, in my opinion, I've said this to many people, Lockie's the greatest keyboard player we have live on this planet. And he just so happens to be an Australian. So, you know, we've got an amazing keyboard player that understands John Lord, you know. And there's not many people who can understand John Lord, because John Lord is a genius. On guitar, we have Jeff Coleman, who's a virtuoso guitar player that's been with me off and on for the last 17 years, who's a true guitar god. On drums, we have Pontus Engborg, my longtime drummer for 12 years, who really plays everywhere with me, and he knows all of my work. So, you know, everybody I just mentioned to you are ready to go. We've, you know, been preparing for this. We not coming there, you know, to mess around. We're coming to put on a show for everyone, and we're gonna give it all.
You played your last concert with Deep Purple on March 15th, 1976 in Liverpool's Empire Theater. Were you aware that was going to be your final gig with the band?
I say no, but at the back of my mind back then, it was a definite sort of like, oh, are we sure this is what we want to do? The band was being split into two. There was some things going on behind the scenes that were inappropriate. There were some issues other than drugs and alcohol going on that was making it difficult to work. And there was management changes, and there was a lot of things going on outside of the band that was affecting the band, as well as the issues that you may have read about. But for me, when when Richie left, I actually wanted to leave at that time as well, because I was unsure where we were going to go. Then Tommy came along, and it was great. So for me, I don't think anybody knew going onto the stage in Liverpool that would be the last time. I think at the end of the show, we all knew it. We all kind of had that look of discontent, that feeling that we've come to the end of the road here. And I was more than, obviously it was sad, but I was willing to move on with my life and to prepare to make a solo album, etc., etc.
Deep Purple were finally inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame last year. Do these accolades mean much to you?
Well, I've very luckily collected most accolades, over 80 gold and platinum albums, many awards, and, I've been doing this a long, long time. I've never taken anything for granted. If you know anything about me at all, you might know that I'm a workaholic, and I do things because I love to do things. I don't do them for monetary reasons or financial needs, because I've been very grateful to have taken care of that side of the street. I do things now sheerly out of love and passion for embracing the art of music. I say many times to people, music is the healer. It has healed my life and saved my life in numerous times. And the reason I'm doing a tour like this is because I'm embracing the songs that I wrote and performed all those years ago. And I think a large group of fans globally want to see and hear this. I mean, it's going to go global, and, obviously next year is going to be a huge year for me. So, and I say that with respect. I mean, I'm really grateful that I'm still got the voice and the ability to give back.
There are a lot of young and up-and-coming bands that are looking back at the history of rock music for inspiration. Are there any contemporary rock bands that you're listening to or admire what they're creating at the moment?
I'm going to tell you the truth, and this is something you have to try and believe. I don't listen to the radio anymore in the car. I don't have the urge to listen to music because I write every day, and if I'm writing, I don't really have the need to listen so much. I mean, I'll listen to something from time to time. So whatever is going on in the world of new music, someone has to turn me onto it, because I don't really find it. It's not 20 years ago when it was a little easier, or 30 years ago, as you can imagine. There seems to be there's no new band come through that is going to sell a lot of albums and play to a lot of people. I don't hear it, and don't get me wrong, I want to hear it. I'm a fan of a lot of people. I love music, and I love other singers, and I love to work, produce, and write for other people. But I'm not sure if there's anything new out there that's going to completely blow the minds of everybody.
On a final note, I would like to know if there are any musical projects that you are currently working on. I know you released your solo album last year, but are there plans to release new music this year or next year?
In 2 weeks' time, we have the new Black Country Communion album with my friends Joe Bonamassa and Jason Bonham and Derek Sharuni, and that's going to be a very big album. And, I have Kings of Chaos, with Matt Sorum and my friends. That's going to happen next year. And I have Glenn Hughes solo, and I also have this classic Glenn Hughes Deep Purple live shows that will more than likely go global, as we are now talking to promoters around the world, and it would appear that the love has been spread, and along may that continue.
It's been a pleasure talking to you, Glenn, and I'm sure a lot of Australian fans are looking forward to seeing you come back again to perform those classic Deep Purple songs. I know I actually, as a younger Deep Purple fan, like, those songs inspired me to listen to great classic rock music. So I thank you very I thank you very much for the music and what you do.
You're welcome, and I look forward to seeing you in Sydney.